Hello everybody, welcome back to G Views. I'm a 21-year-old cisgendered white girl who loves talking about movies and TV. So for today's G Views, I'm looking at a new Netflix release which was released yesterday, and it's a film called Malcolm and Marie. I don't know if you've heard of it. It stars John David Washington and Zendaya as the two actors. They're the only actors in the film, and it is directed by Sam Levinson, who also wrote the film as well, wrote the screenplay. So if you want to see my opinions on Malcolm and Marie, then keep on watching. Right, first of all, I'm sick of black and white, so we're gonna remove that. Malcolm and Marie is a black and white movie, and it centers around the couple Malcolm and Marie after the events of like his movie premiere, and it's basically looking at like one night and the rows and the tensions and kind of the toxicity of their relationship. And it gets really like intense with their arguments. So I was really excited about this film, and the film is interesting. So it's all set in one setting. It's this very nice house in the middle of nowhere. I know they set this was filmed in COVID times, and I think it only took like 2 weeks to film. So it was, you know, all in one setting, and it was just the two of them as a couple. And the black and white was very effective, I thought, in portraying kind of the sadness, the depression of the relationship, but also the sophistication. It was very sophisticated to look at, very beautiful, well lit as well. I think the lighting was really good. Other positives I'm gonna say are the acting was good from Zendaya especially. I think she definitely gave a more subtle performance in her facial expressions. There's a scene where she's in the bath and she doesn't really say much at all, but her face is just incredibly powerful, like her lip quivers, and her eyes just has a lot of emotion. And I think that was that scene in the end scene where she's giving her monologue, I think was incredibly powerful. Now for the rest of the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I was not a huge fan of this movie. First of all, it was way too long. I think it was around 1 hour 40 minutes, and I think 20 minutes could have been trimmed off because the monologues were so long. Honestly, the writing was probably the biggest problem of this movie. It's written by Sam Levinson, who is one of the creators or writers on Euphoria, which, oh yeah, obviously Zendaya is in Euphoria, which I love as well. And he wrote it. And the script, it has its strengths. It has good moments, but it goes on for way too long. It doesn't know how to cut it off at the right moment. And then it sets their relationship through the scenes of intense fight, really intense fight, and then a really long bit of silence and tension, and then they come back together and it's happy, and then it's another really long fight with really long monologues. And I love a good monologue. I think they're incredibly important, and they also show the range of the actor. But the way it was written, it didn't give the actors enough to really show a range in their emotions. Like, for example, Malcolm, he has this monologue where he is ripping the LA Critic. This woman has written a piece on his new movie, and he is really annoyed because the woman is making it all about race, and he's saying it's not all about race, it's just a movie, and movies don't always have to be political. And he is just screaming and shouting about this huge monologue about all different directors, and he's using loads of examples, and this scene goes on for so long, and he is up here the whole time. There's no like range, and I think that's kind of the weakness of the script, and also like the actor just not having the right material to work off a wide range of emotions and showing range and showing character development and showing a different side of the character, like having those like highs, so it's emphasized, but then also having those lows, and the camera is just positioned in kind of one position in one position. So he's walking in and out, and it's the same shot, so it gets quite boring. Because the writing is lacking and is weak at times, it means that the pacing is completely off with the movie, and it means it gets dull and boring at times. And because it is in black and white, for me, I'm not a huge black and white film fan, it can get a bit dull at times, and you're kind of wondering, when is this over? Which you obviously don't want that in your movie. I think this movie would do really well as a play. I feel like it's written as a play. The monologues, the way the set is positioned is like a play. Obviously this movie is COVID, like it is set like in COVID time, so there's really limited cast. They wanted it to do it that way, but it feels like a play. You could watch this as an audience member, but when you're watching it as a film, you want to keep interested and you want to keep your audience on your toes. And if it's the same points, same monologues, same length of emotions here and there, and they get back together and this and that, I don't really want to see it. Like, I wasn't invested in their relationship. I wanted them to break up, because the stuff he was saying about her was extremely hurtful, and you just saw this really like complex relationship, which, you know, through pieces of information you learn that she's a recovering drug addict, and that she's obviously younger, and she was the muse for the film, and all she wanted was a thank you and recognition that she is a part of his life, and she influenced his film obviously because it was about her. So I think it is really important for showing complexities of a relationship, but I think it could have been written in a far more interesting way, and a more powerful way. Sam Levinson interjects himself into his character of Malcolm through the monologues, his critiques about film critics, about, you know, how they're wrong and how they often like fall into the traps of like making everything political or critiquing certain things. He interjects himself into Malcolm, and it becomes very jarring at times, especially because Levinson is a white person as well. Writing his own experiences through the voice of a black man makes it quite uncomfortable at times for me, because like, what is he trying to say? Like, he's the one writing it, but he doesn't experience it the way that Malcolm would experience, or a person of colour would experience it. And I do understand that it's trying to critique that not everything about, if you have, you know, obviously two black actors, it's not all about race, which obviously is a fair point, but the way that Levinson writes it is like he's the one saying it, not Malcolm saying it. So overall thoughts on Malcolm and Marie, I think Zendaya was pretty good. I think she had great moments. I just think like the script writing wasn't up to par with the level of talent she is. She looked gorgeous as well, like so good. The scene in the bath is really good. That's probably the best part of the movie, or the bit at the end where she's speaking her monologue on the bed, but even then it's just too long. The film also should have ended at one point, and then it carried on, and I was like, come on, you just need to end already. So that being said, I'd probably give Malcolm and Marie a 6 or a 6.5. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. It just wasn't, it's not a film I'm gonna watch again, but I can recognise that Zendaya's performance is really good. But the film does have its weaknesses, so I'm not sure I'd recommend. I'd only recommend if you are a Zendaya fan or a John David Washington fan, or someone who likes black and white movies. So anyway guys, I hope you like this GV. Make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and also make sure to watch my previous review, which I will put in the description box below. Also make sure to check out my Twitter and my Instagram, which will also be put in the description box below, and is also in my YouTube header, so make sure to go check them out. They're great places. Also make sure to stay safe, remain COVID negative, and I will see you soon.